Broadcasting from the heart of the continental United States and sailing the steel breeze of the World Wide Web, this is the Nexus. Good evening, everybody. Oh, that just didn't. That was a little choppy there. Well, good evening, everybody. James the Idol Smasher with you. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we are broadcasting live here at Rumble Studio, also YouTube, X, and Facebook at the Orphans of Abraham. This is the time we take every Thursday. We just sit and look at the Torah. And before we begin anything, always consult your local rabbi. I'm not a rabbi. I'm not even Jewish. I'm garish. Ben Noach. Some call us Noahides. I'm one of those crazy people. We're looking at Genesis, a series on Genesis. This is part 2, and just kind of a deep dive into commentary. I've we've got several different translations I want to look at, and one online at mechanmamri.org if you want to follow along. And just kind of get a feel of what's going on. You have to understand that we're reading translations here, and translation itself is commentary. Okay, that's how it's seen in Judaism. It's because you're not learning from the source language, the mother tongue. You're not learning it from written biblical Hebrew. You're learning it from a translation. That translation is basically a commentary. Okay, so it depends on which bunch, which bunch of rabbis get together and decide which, what it's going to say in English to the world. So, when we read different translations, and we get different commentary and a better look at what it means in the English language. I would love to learn. I would further love to. I should say learn. I should further love to explore my biblical Hebrew. I'm very hesitant on here to speak Hebrew or to even say a prayer in Hebrew, which I never get right when the camera's on. Let alone when there's no camera. So we'll be looking at different translations, and we're just going in Genesis. We're beginning in day 4, but you look back at what you're doing, and you have to kind of make a few things clear. One, that it is commentary. What we're reading is actually commentary, and 2, or as well, I really want to stress geocentrism. And I really want to stress that, it's, sometimes I say what I think. And as a Ben Noach, you get a different perspective some of the times. I mean, I remember rabbis all the time in class, and, the non-Jews in there were asking questions. We're putting dots together that they hadn't thought of before. And, some say in many ways that's how a good chunk of the world of the Ger kind of got going. Is because it was a buddy Ross, and can a non-Jew keep Shabbat? Was the question. And a non-Jew does not keep Shabbat. A non-Jew can honor Shabbat. They say keep it like a Ben Noach. You can't keep it like a Jew. Why? Because it's not meant for you. It's not commanded for you. But yes, you can keep as a non-Jew. There is a prescription in the Talmud. It's if you're a Ben Noach, you can rest from your vocation, and have a meal on the eve of Shabbat, a special meal with your family. But you shouldn't avoid strenuous work and whatnot. I'm going to be going to work on, and I'll be there a little bit past sundown tomorrow. I haven't done that in 13 years, I don't think. I'm not prohibited. But I've been pretty steady and pretty adamant about it here at the house. Here Charlie Cook kind of got the hint too. His new book is out, Stop in the Name of God. And I haven't read it, but I know exactly what he's talking about. He learned of the Jewish Shabbat, and he honors it. He calls it honoring the Jewish Shabbat. He doesn't keep it like a Jew, but he does stop. He does rest, and he'd never experienced that before. Really neat. And for all the libertarian Charlie Cook fans out there, he was doing the Jewish Shabbat. Boy, I bet you that just angers you, doesn't it? You'll never find a bigger group of Jew haters. People say it's in the Muslim world or the Christian world here in America. No, it's in the libertarian group. Anybody who hangs out in libertarians because they're so free speech, yeah, there's a lot of, and it's just stupid. Really, it's silly. It's laughable. It's Candace laughable, but they're serious. It's like Nick Fuentes. Some of the stuff he says is, I want to get mad at him because I used to get mad when I hear his stuff. And I didn't want to hear him. I didn't care to hear him, but he's everywhere now. So got some money from somewhere to stir up some stuff, but I just can't hate the guy. And what he believes about Jews is so out of the world. I mean, even the Catholics don't teach some of the stuff he says about the Jews that he believes in. That they have two gods, a good and evil God that they pray to. It's in his own text. God makes peace, creates evil. Okay, that's Isaiah, and that's a long way down the road. Right now, we're at the beginning of everything, and I have something here which I want to read to you to start everything off, just as a look back as to where we were last week. This is from Dennis Prager. This is from and I show this all the time. I got to get it shiny so you can read the bottom part. The Rational Bible. It's a commentary. It's a biblical commentary. And Dennis Prager's pretty darn cool. I dare say badass. Can I say badass on Rumble? Of course I can. It's a free speech platform. Dennis Prager is badass. Okay. I want to read you commentary on the very first line written in Genesis. In the beginning, God created heavens and earth. We talked about that last week. The first verse of Genesis is, in some ways, the most important verse in the Bible. While many Torah verses influenced history, Genesis 1:1 changed history in monumental ways. First, the verse posits a creator of the universe. That means, among many other things, there is no meaning to existence. If there is no creator, there is no ultimate purpose to existence, including, of course, human existence. We humans can make up a meaning because we're the one species that cannot live without meaning. But the fact remains that we made it up. Of course, atheists argue that believers in God made up God, therefore God does not really exist, but they don't always apply this rule to the existence of what they acknowledge they made up. Meaning, if what we make up, God, doesn't exist, what atheists make up, meaning, doesn't exist. If there is no God, we know there is no ultimate meaning or purpose to life, that all existence, including, of course, our own, is the result of random chance. But we do not know there is no creator. So, unlike those who know they make up meaning, neither we who believe in God or atheists know we make up God. Or made up God, excuse me. On the contrary, there are very strong arguments for a designer of the world, but there is no arguments for the ultimate purpose to life if there is no God. Second, the word created, bara, implies nothing pre-existed, Genesis 1:1. When bara is used in the Torah, it is used only with reference to God, because only God can create from nothing. Human beings cannot create. They can only make, like making something from something, such as wood and paper from trees. Third, everything, with the exception of God, has a beginning. Prior to God's creating, there was nothing. That includes time. Thanks to Einstein, we know that time, too, had a beginning. God, therefore, also created time, which means God exists not only outside of nature, but outside of time. God precedes time and will outlive time. Fourth, for the first time, a creation story has but one creator. The moral and intellectual consequences of the Torah's monotheism have changed the world. They are listed in detail in the commentary to Exodus 8:6 and summarized in the commentary to Genesis 35:2. Fifth, unlike pre-biblical creation stories, there is complete silence regarding a birth of the deity. The God of Genesis 1:1, the God of the Bible, is not born. Sixth, For the first time in history, we are presented with a God who is completely separate from nature, because God created nature. God, for the first time, is not a part of nature. Finally, seventh, for the first time in history, the Creator and the act of creation are completely desexualized. All of that is contained in this opening verse of the Bible. Get the series. Dennis, Mr. Prager. I would love to see Leviticus. I would love to see Leviticus. Love it. I would love it. I wish you much health, success, and keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Thank you, Dennis Prager. The Rational Bible. Okay, let's get into Torah, shall we? And of course, always have a Bible and a beer. I've noticed that when I eat sweet things, they say when you study Torah, you should eat something sweet. When I eat something sweet, I spit when I talk. And that's even in broadcasting, we learned that when a black coffee better than with sugar. So something sweet, it makes your taste buds go a little crazier. So I think it's sweet. Tonight is another cheap kosher brew. This is Hams from the land of sky blue waters. And if you say that in the native tongue up there, that says Minnesota. No kidding. So l'chaim all. And I will probably need a sip or two before the tonight's event is over. So I'll put you down over there because I know I'm going to need it. We've got Mechon Mamre opened up, and that is mechon-mamre.org. And you can go to the Hebrew English translation if you like. That's the one I'll have up on the screen here in a second. And we are entering the fourth day. So this would be verse 14. And we start with my very first Jewish published. I haven't had the beer yet, I promise. This is the JPS 1985 Tanakh. So get your life preserver vest on and your layered clothes. And I guess I'm layered. I didn't change tonight, but CB, hey CB, okay. And some of your Nikes, not your Nikes, what we wear back then. Reeboks. Get your Reeboks on. We're going to go 1980. We're starting in 1985. We'll go to the Koren Tanakh, and then we'll look at a couple of Chumashim I have over here, the Gutnick, the previous Gutnick, I should say, and the Stone edition. So without further ado, blessed are you, O Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who brings us life, who sanctifies us with his commandments, and allows us to reach this occasion. When God began, okay, wait, all right. Let's not get too behind ourselves here. 14. And God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate day from night. They shall serve as signs for the set times, the days, and the years. And they shall serve as lights in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. And it was so. All right. Let's read the same verse. And one of the most respected, from what I've understood, English translations there is out there. This is the Koren Tanakh. It is beautiful, and it is just sola scriptura, as they say around these parts. It is just the text, no commentary, and it is absolutely wonderful. And God said that there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. All right, now let's move over here to our previous Gutnick edition. God said, the luminaries shall be positioned in the firmament of the skies to separate between the day and the night. They will serve as omens of bad events when there is an eclipse, and will divide the time of the Jewish festivals. And the sun and moon will define the days and years. They will also act as luminaries in the firmament of the sky to shed light upon the earth, and that is what happened. And in our Stone Edition Chumash, which is another rad text you just got to have in your collection. A Hertz is a really good one too. I gave my Hertz to my brother in Texas, and I miss it. But he didn't have one of any kind, so I thought it was time. Fourth day, God said, "Let there be luminaries in the firmament of heaven to separate between the day and the night, and they shall serve as signs and for festivals and for days and years, and they shall serve as luminaries in the firmament of the heaven to shine upon the earth." And it was so. Now, there's something here in the Stone Edition commentary. The Vilna Gaon notes that the creations of the first 3 days and those of the next 3 days paralleled and complemented one another. Light was created on the first day, or day one, as we learned last week, and the luminaries were set in place of the fourth. On the fourth, the seas and atmosphere were created on the second day, and aquatic and bird life created on the fifth, and dry land and vegetation were created on the third, and populated on the sixth. The Midrash notes this phenomenon and comments that the Sabbath came and protested to God, as it were, saying, "You have given a mate to each of the days, but you have not given me a mate." God responded that the Jewish people would be its mate, because Israel would accept the commandments to observe the Sabbath. Beis Halevi explains the Sabbath's plate. The items completed on the first 3 days were implemented on the next 3 days. But that would bear the message of the Sabbath, that God is the creator who brought the world into being in 6 days and rested on the seventh. God replied that Israel would declare that testimony. It would be the mate of the Sabbath. Still, the shot, the bare-based look at the text or commentary, in here on Mechan Mamre, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. So let's finish the day, because it's often said that the sun wasn't created until the fourth day. There was already light. All right, let me get to that. Let me come back to that. All right. Next verse. Or actually not next, but 16. Back into our JPS. God made the two great lights, the greater light to dominate the day and the lesser light to dominate the night, and the stars. So we have a separation there. And God set them in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth, to dominate the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that this was good. And there was an evening, and there was a morning, a fourth day. A fourth day. Korin Tanakh. 16. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth and to rule over the day and over the night and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and there was evening and there was morning, a fourth day. Which is almost backwards from what we're used to reading in everything else. Or the events, pardon me, listed would appear to be almost backwards. We'll go over here, Gutnick. The wordy translation. God made two large luminaries, but since they clashed, he reduced one in size. Thus, the large luminary was to rule over the day, and the small luminary was to rule over the night. And he made the stars in order to appease the moon. God placed them in the firmament of the skies to shed light upon the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate between light and between darkness. And God saw that it was good. And it became evening, and it became morning, a fourth day. There's good commentary in there. I might get to it. We have to do that. And finally, in our Stone Edition Chumash, get back over here we go. All right, 16. And God made the two great luminaries, the greater luminary to dominate the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, to dominate by day and by night, and to separate between light and darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was an evening and there was a morning, a fourth day. The parallel that we were reading here was the Vilna Gaon. Much like the Ten Commandments, the reason why they're on two tablets is each commandment parallels the other. One is the proper treatment of God, the other is the proper treatment of man for Israel. And these two paralleling each other makes a lot of sense, especially in the ancient time. What we've learned, if we look at, I'm not so sure the sun was suddenly created on day 4, like it just popped into the sky. What we read in Genesis is a process. What we're going through here, it was a process of creation. It happened. It evolved. Okay? It evolved. That's exactly what happened. Tell me I don't have the. I don't have. I'm not sharing. Am I not sharing? Am I not presenting? I thought I was presenting. Oh my goodness. I wish to apologize. There we go. No wonder. I'm never over here. But when we read in the second chapter of Genesis, when we get to a different perspective on the creation story, Adam, when God began to form Adam, there was mist throughout the earth. There were no rains, so there were no clouds necessarily. There was no, it wasn't like what we know now, certainly, because that came after the flood. There were no rainbows. But when it's God put luminaries in the sky. Well, if there were no luminaries in the sky, if you can't see the sky, there's no real division. It gets brighter and then it gets darker, but that's it. There's no ruling light when you can't see it, when there's no open sky. And and to say that the water originally covered the earth and separated waters from waters didn't say the waters above went anywhere. They hadn't condensed, I guess. There was something different about this particular story, I'm not so sure that we can say to the children when you read this to a child, yes, the sun, moon, and stars were created on day 4 or came about in day 4, whatnot. But if it's an evolutionary thing, as we know in science, it makes more sense that there was a solid gaseous atmosphere. And when that finally cleared up over time and we come out of that period of swamp, moist, Rosalie was saying the separation of dry land from earth is the the creation of wet. And I'm like, I guess then the second day was a creation of, or third day was a creation of moist. I don't know. And perhaps, yeah, if God began to create man before any seed had sprout, while there was still mist in the earth coming out of the ground, there was already dry land. There was a time, and then we read last week that the creation of man, or the reason why the seeds blossomed is because, or for the benefit of man. And yet God began to create man before the seeds sprouted. So who's to say they weren't parallel? That's what I'm saying. I could be wrong, but it makes a lot of sense when you put these days up in the development of the universe and cosmology, following it from a completely geocentric point of view. This is what you witness over time on the Earth as it's expanding, as the universe expands and coalesces, as things come together. So that's my thing. He put them in the heavens where we could see them, or where it could be seen from Earth, in my opinion. And I don't know, but this is something I just can't get away from. Okay. Well, the future lies this way. By the way, James the Idol Smasher, excuse me, buymeacoffee.com/the Idol Smasher. If you want to help us here and get more done, and get some more material too as well. I'd like to go over the Siddur, or one of the Siddurs they've written, but my personal favorite, for the non-Jewish folk, um, and a few other things I'd like to get to as well. So just throwing that out there. Every Thursday, 8 p.m., we do this live almost all the time. Okay, and yeah, Thursday night we will do it on the 25th. We will do a solstice hangout, God willing, inshallah. Moving right along, verse 20. God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures and birds that fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky." God created the great sea monsters and all living creatures of every kind that creep, with the waters brought forth in swarm, which the waters brought forth in swarms. All the winged birds of every kind, and God saw that this was good. God blessed them, saying, be fertile and increase. Fill the waters and the seas. Let the birds increase on the earth. And there was evening and there was morning, a fifth day. Let's go right through the fifth day right there. Okay, that's our JPS. Let the waters bring forth. And you'll notice, that's the one time I think that, let me look back for a second here, because I'm not sure the word created was used in the previous day. Let there be light. Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven. Okay. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed its every kind. But he said, "Let the water." Okay, let the waters under heaven. We're getting there. So the first time we hear about creating, or the next time we hear the word creation, and we'll see if it pops up here as well, for day 5, was on this day. That is interesting. Okay, this is the Koran Tanakh. And God said, let the waters swarm abundantly with moving creatures that have life, and let birds fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created the great crocodiles and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged bird after its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. And there was an evening and there was a morning, a fifth day. Crocodiles. Mm. God said, let the waters produce swarms of small living creatures, and let birds fly over the earth across the firmament of the skies. God created the large sea fish, all the creeping living creatures that the waters produced in swarms according to their species, and all the winged birds according to their species. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let the birds multiply upon the earth. It became evening, and it became morning, a fifth day. And then our Stone Edition Chumash. God said, let the waters teem with living creatures, and the fowl that fly over the that fly about over the earth across the expanse of the heavens. And God created the great sea giants, and every living being that creeps, with which the waters teemed after their kinds, and all the winged fowl of every kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, but the fowl shall increase on the earth. And there was an evening, and there was a morning, a fifth day. Okay, there's one commentary here I'd like to read out. This is on verse 22. Actually, let's go to 21. Okay, Abarbanel. Okay, this is commentary. And God created, as I just said, because we hadn't heard that word pop up in the creation story, but it pops up now. So why? Um, Abarbanel comments that this term refers to something unprecedented. On the first day, day one, it referred to creation from a total vacuum. Here it refers to the huge size of some of the fish, and the last time it is used, it refers to and the last time it is used, um, it refers to the creation of man, intelligent life in the image of God. God bless them. Commentary here. This is what I was wanting to read. These creatures needed a special blessing because so many are intentionally reduced in number, hunted down and eaten. Land animals that were created on the earth on the sixth day needed such a blessing too, but God did not confer one of them so as not to include the serpent, which was destined to be cursed, according to Rashi. Even the snakes lay more than one egg. Let the waters teem with life, and then God created the sea creatures, the giants, and every winged fowl. So when it comes to specific creatures mentioned created by God, not that what the waters brought forth, because you go underwater and it's a whole other universe down there. compared to what we've got to look up here. It's bland. I mean, the colors and the coral and sponges and polyps and these and scooter blennies. I mean, but when it comes, yeah, so we have all kinds of stuff. We get to like the scooter blenny. It said, "And God created great sea giants and every living thing that creeps, with which the waters teemed after their kinds, and all winged fowl." So this was special. These were special. And if the creation of man begins before the first seed sprouted, God gives the same blessing to the land animals and to man, and later again to Noah and all living things on the ark. So yeah, I'm hinting at things, but I don't want to. I don't want to come right out and say it. But I think it's time we move on to day 6 and read the Mechan Mamre here. Yeah, and God, okay, and let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let the fowl fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created the great sea monsters, and every living creature that creepeth, wherewith the waters swarmed after its kind, and every winged fowl after its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply on the earth. And there was evening and there was morning, a fifth day. Okay. All right. One of the things, or the big thing that Professor Gerald Schroeder of MIT, tenured professor, brought up in his lecture, where he just sets the text of the Torah right next to all available evidence of modern cosmological theory, and what we've been able to observe to explain certain things, yada yada yada. I want to get into that. Talk science all night too. Um, if you follow the beginning of time, the moment time latched on, the moment that particles gained mass in that fraction of a second, and you rode, I might have explained this last week, and you rode that wave, you rode that point out as it inflates, because it's actually an inflation. It's not like an explosion that goes out. It's actually more of a like a bean or like a fetus. You know, it kind of expands inward. That's inflationary theory. But if you follow that dot from where you came and you rode it all the way to today, it would take you about 6 3/4, just under 7 days to get here. That's because time divides in half every time the universe expands at a factor of 1. Time is cut in half. So you will experience, because you're going at the speed of light, you will experience a 6 7/8 journey. How's that? To or 6/7 journey. That's where we would get now, and that's the point we're going to meet. We're going to be coming up on the end of the 6th day here. And what he postulates and what he says, if you look at cosmological theory, all archaeological evidence, um, uh, and even evolutionary theory, and they're going to parallel themselves, and they do parallel themselves pretty well. How you like them apples, atheists? Not bad for a bunch of sheep herders, huh? Okay. Hey, a lot of those atheists got me back on the right path, so I got nothing really against atheists. I got everything against atheism, or the anti-theists. That's what the word we used to call. Now we just call them communists, which is about the same thing. Okay, now we're going to be at verse 24. Let's get a scroll to make sure we can see everything. I still didn't turn off the banner. I'm still not getting used to it. There we go. See, I'm just not quite the professional I should be, huh? Okay. Verse 24 in the 1985 JPS. God said, "Let the earth bring forth every kind of living creature, cattle, creeping things, wild beasts of every kind." And it was so. God made wild beasts of every kind, and cattle of every kind, and all kinds of creeping things on the earth. And God saw that it was good, that this was good. I'm going to say something else that might be controversial. I don't know. And if there's a Jew out there watching right now, I don't have the link out, but you are welcome to contact me, James the Idol Smasher at gmail.com, or when we open up the room. I would love to be corrected. Please correct me down below. Don't put it in the chat. That goes away after the show's done. Leave a comment if I get something wrong or if I'm way off, please. I don't mind being corrected on Torah study. There's not a greater thing you could be corrected. Not a greater thing you could be corrected on than learning Torah. There's nothing greater, nothing more satisfying. And something scary, too. Actually, I've been scared away by some things when I had to realize the Torah isn't history. It's not a history book. And I had to, and I knew it was linear, but the notion that when that washed over me and I really got what it was talking about, which I think I knew deep down inside, it made me very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. And that's why I had to go back to the very, very basics. I don't think it's ever going to make me uncomfortable again. I think I know a lot more now than I did back then, but it's there's nothing greater to be corrected on than Torah study. I'd say that in Torah application too. Okay, we're going to get that first. Let's go over here to our lovely, wonderful, always welcome to all the Torah parties, the Koren Tanakh. All right, here we go. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind, cattle and creeping things. Sometimes they're creepy. Yeah, ready. Centipedes. Ooh. And beasts of the earth after their kind, and it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after their kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps on the earth after its kind. And God saw that it was good." All right. All right. Go over here over the previous Gutnick, the wonderful previous Gutnick, our wordy translation, our wonderful wordy translation. If you want to know why the Gutnick is a little more wordy, as I like to say, they give you the text translation and then they give you commentary. So things are going to be in parentheses. I used to always want to stop and read the parentheses separate or try to say, I'm going to read the Gutnick as it says. Parentheses, schmarrentheses. I'm reading it all. But you're getting commentary. You're getting, this is what, the compilers of this particular translation, how they see it. And this is how we make it digestible. Whereas the Stone, you'll see they take different different commentary from different people to convey a teaching. Okay, L'chaim. From the land of sky blue waters. God said, "Let the earth produce living creatures according to their various species, cattle, creeping things, and wild animals of the earth according to their various species." And that is what happened. God made the wild animals of the earth according to their various species, the cattle according to their various species, and all the creeping things of the ground according to their various species. God saw that it was good. And finally, our stone. Lovely, lovely stone. But a lot warmer than a rock. Rocks kind of, rocks are great, but man, this stone, this is delicious. You can consume this stuff, and it's good for you. Good for digestion. It really is. Torah is very good for digestion. Excuse me, I can't deny that. Okay, or at least studying Torah is good for digestion. Torah is probably also good for giving you heartburn if you're a schmuck. So the law and what's behind it is a great, glorious, and awesome thing. Not like awesome dude. Like it's humbling. I keep talking. I just can't stop talking. And there's text to be read here. There's Genesis. I got to read Genesis. It's right there on the slate. God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to its kind, animal and creeping thing, and beast of the land, each according to its kind." And it was so. God made the beast of the field according to its kind, and the animal according to its kind, and every creeping thing on the ground according to its kind. And God saw it was good. Now, what if I were to say to you that man, at this particular point, is one of the creeping things of the earth? Wild animals. Okay, what isn't a wild animal except a domesticated dog? You can have a parrot in a cage. It's still not a domestic animal. What is a domestic animal? A rodent, a bottom feeder that you caught. How many animals have we truly domesticated aside from food? But even the ox, even the buffalo. You know. So what if man was already here? What if man was one of the creatures? That's my thing. Now there is a verse in the Talmud that speaks of people who were here for 190 100,000 years or whatnot, that were like us. They walked like us. They looked like us. They could use tools and whatnot, but they weren't human beings. They weren't Homo sapiens. They had no knowledge of the divine. Like a dog does everything God, it serves God best because there's not much to do to be a dog, or a hawk. Not much to do. You live. There's technically no moral. There's where do you ever hear of temptation of animals? Is there really a temptation of animals? Is it temptation? I don't know. It's not temptation because there's a big T-bone up on the table and Dad's not around. Is that really temptation, or that's a good steak and I want? And chances are they'll take. Okay, so just for purposes of having some fun, okay, just humor the idea that man was already here. Man was one of the creatures created on day 6. Because it doesn't say God created man, period. What's it say? What's it say? '27. And God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fertile and increase, fill the earth and master it, and rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all living things that creepeth on the earth." God said, "See, I give you every seed-bearing plant that is upon all the earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit, they shall be yours as food. And to all the animals on the land, to all the birds of the sky, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is the breath of life, I give all the green plants for food." And it was so. And God saw all that he had made, and found it very good. There was an evening, there was a morning, the 6th day. This is the day that says the 6th. It's the only "the" in there. It's the only specific day we're talking about. Why? Because this is when an actual calendar starts. We'll get to that later on. Or a genealogical, but it's when it really starts. Okay, that's our JPS 1985. Michael J. Fox. What else came out in 85? I don't know. I'm not thinking of anything else. Just, wow, read this in 85, man. If you think Elvis was cool, man, Elvis is wearing a Star of David and a cross on the same chain in 1972. Actually, I think it was in 71 he started doing that. So, Elvis, why you wear a Star of David and a cross on the same chain? He goes, so I have to miss out on heaven on a technicality. True story. For a Christian, that took some cajones, some big brass cajones. 26 in the Quran, and God said, let us make mankind in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every living creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth. Interesting choice of words, isn't it? Replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree on which is the fruit yielding seed to you, it shall be for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was an evening, and there was a morning, the sixth day. The sixth day. Over here to the previous Gutnick. Our lovely Gutnick. Gutnick. That's a fun word to say. Did that just make you happy saying it? Gutnick. Come on. That's a great word. I love it. Okay. Now here's where the commentary comes in. We're going to see. This will be really, this will stand out. Okay. God consulted the heavenly court and said, let us make man, Adam, in our mold, intellectually endowed like us, and if he is worthy, let him rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the skies, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over all the creeping things that creep on the earth. God created man by hand in the mold which was made for him. The mold which he used to create him resembled the image of God. On that day, he created both male and female. God blessed them. God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Let the man be responsible for taking control of it. Rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the skies, and over all the wild animals that move upon the earth. God said, I have hereby given you every plant that reproduces by seed that is upon the surface of the entire earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit, they shall be food for you, for all the wild animals on the earth, for all the birds of the skies, and for everything that moves upon the earth that is alive. The food for humans and animals shall be plant vegetation only. And that is what happened. God saw that everything he had made, and look, it was very good. It became evening, and it became morning, the sixth day. We're about the end of our hour here together. So a couple things I thought I'd bring up here. And I have this scrolled down. I apologize. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Isn't this interesting? Because, there's another time when waters covered the earth and replenished the earth. It's not a history book. It's not chronological. It's a hard thing for folks coming out of the church, and for just more normal folks who read it. It's hard to understand. You're not getting necessarily something in historical fashion. The process is laid out. The process is laid out. But when God speaks to man, and the things that happen, um, we'll get into. There is definitely a history there. History is there. There is accounts for history. Yes, absolutely, completely. But the text itself is prophecy. There's a lot more to it. It's so much more intricate than it's so much more intricate than just what we're reading here. But even the English shot, there's still going to be a wealth of information as about what we live with and who we're on. The sixth day was one thing, yes, that was, and then there's it being very good. Everything was good. God even said all the living creatures were good. But once man was made, I think he said they were good, didn't he? Yeah, God said all the living creatures on earth were good. But when the first Homo sapien came about, it was very good. Then everything was very good. Because of that exaggeration, that is also taught by the sages. This is when Hasatan, the biblical Satan, not the Christian one, sure as heck not the Christian one, certainly not the Muslim one. In Torah, he's not the devil. Y'all believe in the devil. Muslims and they believe in all sorts of stuff, but there is no devil in Torah. The adversary is there to test man's goodness. Period. That is God testing you. End of story. God uses the angel, the function of the adversary. He can make an angel the adversary. He can make a man an adversary. And yes, God hardens hearts. So that's an indication. When it's very good, there has to be something to balance that very good. When it was good, it just was. This is good. It functions. It's working. That's good. Look at that's good. That's very good. So that means there's a vacuum to fill, and that would be the adversary. And hopefully one day we will be good. Not just very good, but we can be the whole of it. And we will. We're getting there. We live in a very special time, ladies and gentlemen. A very special time. Finally, we'll get a look at the stone, and then we'll wrap it up here. Um, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. They shall rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and over the animal, the whole earth, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, the bird of the sky, and every living thing that moves on the earth. God said, behold, I have given you all the herbage yielding seed that is on the surface of the entire earth, and every tree that has seed yielding fruit, it shall be yours for food, and to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the sky, and to everything that moves on the earth, within which there is a living soul. Every green herb is for food. And it was so. And God saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. You remember back in the Gutnick, it said that the God consulted the heavenly court because the name of God used here is Elohim. Elohim is a feminine word; it is plural. Um, and it is with God functioning with the heavenly court, because there's a heavenly court. The book older than Genesis, Job, there was a heavenly court. There's a heavenly court throughout the entire Bible, as we read earlier in commentary. There was the Sabbath came to God and said, "Why do I not have a mate?" God said that your mate is man. So, uh, next week we'll pick up on day 7, the 7th day, Shabbat, and we'll begin to look a little deeper um, into the first 2 human beings, and kind of hopefully clear up some myths and some more zany stuff that's floats around about the book. But thank you for tuning in. We're here every Thursday, 8 p.m., and hopefully more if we can ever get this thing moving and I ever get some time off of work and my honeydew lists. So we'll be back here next Thursday, God willing, and we'll see you on the flip side. Shabbat shalom, and take care, everybody.